Yo, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Envy.
And your boy Oscar.
And your boy Jay.
All right, you guys are at Hype Empire, man. Thank you guys for all your love and support. All right, today's topic we're gonna talk about depression, man. Um, I don't know how my boys have it or deal with it or whatever. It's not something that most people like to talk about. I think it's really personal and it's tough for people to talk about, which makes it even worse because I do think you should talk about it. Personally think it kind of helps, but eh, it's nothing that you want to talk about. I can tell you this: none of my boys know that I suffer from it. I suffer from seasonal depression. Like it comes and goes, and that's why I was even telling you what. Like I'm tough on myself, but it does get to a point where it does bother you, and when you do go through it, no matter who's around you, no matter how many loved ones are around you, you kind of feel like you go through it alone. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel like other people know what you're feeling. And I think that's what's like the toughest thing, especially even to talk about it. Like I want to say that talking about it helps, but you still feel it. You know what I mean? Like it still hits you hard. It's still something really tough to overcome. And I'm gonna tell you like this: I don't believe in medication. Even if they gave me the option to take it, I wouldn't take it. That's just me personally. I'm not knocking anybody who does. I know people that do it, that do take it. I'm not knocking anybody that does, but I'm more like I don't want to be handicapped to it. Not saying it's a bad thing. Like I said, I don't feel like it's a bad thing. Me personally, I would feel like I would want to get through it myself because I've suffered it through my whole life. So it's kind of something that I wouldn't want to start taking drugs for.
Yeah, I guess the worst part for me is I didn't even know when I didn't even know I was going through it. Like that's the hardest part because you can't. For me, it was I couldn't even identify what was going on with me, and I guess I'm kind of on that same boat as you, Eric. I didn't want to take any type of medication only because I didn't want to get dependent on it, and I didn't want to fall into that cycle where if I didn't have it, I wouldn't feel like me. That's why I wanted to more like try to deal with it on my own, or even with people around me, because then I felt like okay, I'm not using anything, and I know like you said, it's a good tool to use and still have that supporting cast with you, but I was afraid. I guess when it comes to the medication, I get more afraid of the addiction of it, and I didn't want to fall into that.
Yeah, and I think for me, it was more of what if I wasn't depressed and I just thought, oh, here it comes? Because like Jay says, it's not like it comes a knocking like, oh yeah, like I'm sneezing and all of a sudden, no, it hits you and it hits you hard, and all of a sudden you think, damn, I'm in the slumps about it. Like I'm really in the slumps, and sometimes you just might feel sad and you might confuse it for depression, and you might start taking the pills, and it might make it even worse. That's why, like I said, I don't want to. Not knocking anybody that does, but I just didn't. When it hit me hard, and I just think, yo, I'm already at the bottom of it. I can get through it, like I always have. So it's kind of like that.
So, yeah, this is the tough subject for me. Um, it's a tough subject for everybody, but yeah, I have depression. I've had depression for some time. I noticed it probably about 4 years ago. Um, Angie says that I've probably had it longer than that, and then I just kind of like claimed. I just came to realize it that yo, I'm like really bad. Um, I had a lot of bad things happen probably in like 1 year, and it was just like adding to the pile. But so the way I dealt with it, actually, I had to go see a therapist and a counselor, and actually I even went to was a psychologist, not psychiatric, um, to go to get medication actually. So I actually do take medication, um, and from my experience, it really doesn't. I don't think it changes. You know what I mean? Who I am. You know what I mean? It just doesn't let me get. I don't know. I guess like down because it's like for depression and anxiety, and I do get anxiety as well. So I don't know. It's and I don't want to say it's addicting, right? Because I don't think it's not addicting. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I gotta take my medication. You know, it's like, oh, I gotta take more. I gotta take more. No, especially the one I'm on. I mean, there's freaking a lot of medications out there, and there's a lot of medications that I actually went through before I found the one that actually um, that worked for me. You know what I mean? Because like people react to different medications. You know what I mean? But like for me, this medication, um, it helped me. It helped me really really good. You know what I mean? And so as far as like not taking it, right? The whole dependable thing, yeah, you do get dependent on it. I'm not gonna lie. Like it sucks. You know what I mean? Like because I know how I was in the same boat as you guys. Like I don't want to. I don't want to. Be dependent on something or um be like how you said like trying to get through it on my own. You know what I mean? But like I couldn't. Like there was no way out of it. Like I was really hitting like really like low lows. To the point where I was afraid. Like I was afraid something bad was gonna happen. So I had to that had for me I felt like I had no choice. And so there was one time where I did stop taking it because I thought I was fine, right? And man, that was the worst thing I could do. I was like, once and it sucks, man. Like once you're on that medication, it seems like you're gonna be on it for life.
Like, so
And
when
I
you were
thought,
when you were taking it, um, well, before that, were you feeling really? You're feeling really down. You said.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was in like the lows. I mean, that, like I said, it's hard to talk about it. So it's hard to confront this, and it's hard to tell everybody here. And like, I appreciate you guys. You know, comment. Share this. Like, there's a lot of people out here that don't speak about it because they're afraid. Um, but I had suicidal thoughts, and it was that's the point that got me like, you know what, I gotta do something. You know what I mean? To the point where like even like doing things out of the ordinary, like to jeopardize my life. You know what I mean? Like it was a really really bad, like, and not a lot of people will know, like you can go on with life like with a smile at people, and they not will never know that you have depression. You know what I mean? Because they'll put up a front. I put up a front for a lot of people. For a lot of people. And it was, but to me, where it really got bad is where people, like some people started to notice. People close around me is like, Angie started to notice, like, you something's wrong with you, and you can't hide it anymore. So it's like it's a tough subject, but like if you need that help, like it's you gotta go seek for it, because you can't, you know whether it be medication or just maybe just counseling, therapy. You know what I mean? Because I went through therapy for about 3 years. I haven't been. I still feel. You know what? As a matter of fact, I believe everybody should go through therapy or some type of counseling. You know what I mean? Uh, just to talk. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people say it's like, I could talk to my best friends, or I could talk to um, I could talk to my suegra, or somebody, my cousins or whatever, then it's all free, right? But be having for me having that one counselor, right? And the only way it's going to help if it's you're 100% honest with that one person, because you can always lie to your wife or to your brother-in-law, sister, you know to your mom. You know what I mean? You can always lie because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You know what I mean? You're not going to lie to that one person, that one counselor. you know and if you're 100% honest, that's the only way it's going to work. And they'll give you advice. They're objective. You know what I mean? They're trained for this stuff. And and again, it's like medication. You know what I mean? That counselor might not be the right one for you. You might have to go look around. You know what I mean? But don't stop seeking help.
Yeah, and I think what Oscar was trying to say. I think when people suffer from depression, they know how it makes them feel, so they don't want to put that on anybody else. Usually, like the ones that make you smile, the ones that make you laugh, the ones that cheer you up, they're the ones that go through it the hardest, and they don't want you to go through it. Like they see what it is, like how dark it gets, how lonely it gets, and they don't want to see you go through it, especially your loved ones. So you don't want to talk to them about it. Like you don't want to bring them down. Like, and you want to make sure that they're happy. And like I said, I think depression is a really, really lonely place.
Yeah, the reason I asked you about that, Oscar, is because when I went through it, it was more. I felt like I got more aggressive,
Hmm.
like I was more angry, and you feel like not really, not really suicide, but just more like I'm alone. That's all you feel. And it doesn't matter how many people you're around, you're alone, just around everyone else, and it kind of like would anger me, and I just felt like I'll just do it by myself. That's the one, and that's why, you know, you think that you're going through it, and you're trying to have something good come out of it, and like it'll be like, let's say even like 6 months into the future, and you think back on how you were, and you think, what was wrong with me? That's how I would start to see it. Like I wasn't I wasn't okay, you know? And it's not anybody around you. It's just you. It's just all inside you by yourself, cuz you start to think, man, I'm having a hard time at work. Man, I'm having a hard time at home. It's like, wait, there's one
Common
I'm
denominator.
variable. Yeah, like it's me. It's me. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, it's because it's crazy because your settings never change.
Yeah.
Everything's the same, and you start to realize that's what I always thought. Like, and that's what on our previous video we were talking about that looking for other people to make you happy. Like, yo, that I can tell you from experience that doesn't exist. Like when you're in a depression, trying to put make someone make you happy, it's really exhausting on them, and that's why I learned that from past relationships. Like, I tried to talk to like past girlfriends or stuff like that, and yo, it's a lot of stress on them. Like it's a lot of stress on people that don't know exactly what the hell you're going through because nothing they can say is going to make you feel better. Nothing they can do. They can tell you they love you every day, but at the end of the day, you don't feel it. Like
Yeah.
as ugly as it sounds, you become numb to it, and
Hmm.
you're never happy, regardless of what they do, regardless of what they buy you, regardless how many hugs they give you. I mean, don't get me twisted. Like hugs and all that does make you feel good, but it's like a temporary. It's not gonna
Yeah.
solve the problem. Like, and it's tough. Like it's exactly why they want to take medication. That's again, I'm not knocking anybody that does. Like me for ibuprofen, when you feel the pain of like your arm starts to hurt, you take it right away, and it takes away the pain. To me, it's as crazy as it sounds. I just think it just makes me that much stronger. Like, and it sucks. Like, it sucks really doing it alone. Like, it sucks because, like I said, you don't think that other people feel like what you feel. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't know any of my brothers felt like this. Like Jay and Oscar, I didn't know that they were suffering from the same thing. And it's nothing you ever talk about. First of all, as a man, you don't show weakness. That's for sure, for one thing. And then on top of that, if you did show weakness, it'd probably be to your wife. It wouldn't be to your friends. You know what I mean? Because as men, like you're like, hey man, even I'm not gonna lie to you, even me telling them it's you don't want anybody's sympathy. Like you don't want them to feel sorry for you at the end of the day. You don't want them to look at you any different. That's the
Right.
number one thing why I couldn't open up to anybody. I don't want you to ever look at me like, hey, you okay? Because to me, honestly, I think it'd make it worse. You telling me, hey, you okay? You okay? It's kind of like, yo, I don't want to think about it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I know how you can spiral down.
Yeah. So that was what I was gonna ask next. Like, if you see it, because there's times where I can say I've seen it. What do you do to help somebody?
I don't know. For me, because for like for example, Angie saw it, right? She told me, you know what I mean, and she's like, hey, like, because honestly, I didn't know. Like, I was just feeling down, like, you know what I mean, and she's the one who told me, it's like something's wrong with you, and you're not the same. and you're sleeping way too much. You don't want to do things, and like I don't know, I had to be to a point where like I think there's somebody has to tell you, you know what I mean,
Yeah, but the
to
difficult
kind of
part for
like,
me was I was really aggressive. I was angry. If somebody would have told me, I would have got mad.
I mean, that's, I don't know, like for
That's
you,
what I'm saying.
I
How do you
honestly,
bring that up?
to me, I don't know, man. Like it's got to be somebody who can either relate to you or something. Like for me, if I saw it in somebody, like I've seen it in people, you know what I mean, and I've came to them, it's like, hey, you all right, it's like, and I know like Eric says, like a lot of people was like, no, I don't want to talk about it, you know but I don't know, if you share your experience, you know with it, it's like, hey, I know how you feel, like I've been there, then they kind of like open up a little bit, you know what I mean. And it's like, for me, like I didn't really have anybody like that. It was just like I said, it was Angie. She showed me a bunch of videos, and she's like, look, this is what it's like, these are the symptoms or whatever, and like we need to get you help, kind of deal. You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, because I was tired of feeling like that. You know what I mean? I was like, I think that's, and like you said, like you didn't know you're going through it. You
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
I mean, there's times where I saw it in others, but I think you tell yourself it's none of my business.
I
And
mean, it goes to a certain point. You know what I mean? Like if I would say, if I saw it somebody close to me, you know what I mean, that at least it's like a friend, and I saw it and I'm like, you know what, that's not right. Like, let me go talk to him real quick. You know what I mean? If I saw it in my family, you know what I mean? Like, that's when I would say something. If it was like an acquaintance, you know what I mean? Somebody that I just knew from work or whatever, I would try to say something. But if not, I was like, hey, like, I would always try to like point them to something, like, I was like, hey, like, I have a counselor, like maybe you can talk to a counselor or something. You know what I mean?
I think what Oscar says, I think that goes a long way, talking to a counselor, only because even if it was you guys and now you guys knowing that, I still wouldn't feel, what's it called, obligated to tell you guys, only because again, I wouldn't want to bring it down. Like I wouldn't want to be the Debbie Downer of the group. You know what I mean? And I kind of feel like if you told a counselor or you told somebody else, they you wouldn't want your friends to be looking at you like that. You know what I'm saying? Like again, like even if they tell you, yo, you good, like, because some days, I mean, you could just be having an off day, and I don't know. To me, I just feel like you don't want to. Like sometimes I do want to talk about it, but it's not. It's not easy to talk about. It's not even easy to pinpoint exactly what's making you feel down. Like even if you ask me what's wrong, it's kind of like, yo, I'm just depressed. Like there's no, oh yeah, it's because she's being mean to me. It's nothing like that. You can have the
Mhm.
perfect life and you'll still be depressed. Now I will tell you this: what helps me is when it hits me the worst is when you're not keeping your mind busy. When I'm not keeping my mind busy, damn, that's when it hits me the hardest. Like depression will creep up in. That's why I said a free mind is a dangerous mind. The more you just leave your mind like open and you're not doing stuff, like you don't have stuff to do that day, I think that's when depression hits me the hardest, and it brings me down like a lot, and then it just adds on top of it because then you don't want to do anything now. You know what I mean? You're all down and out.
So that's the difficult part right now with COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody has a lot of all everybody has right now is free time.
Yeah.
So how can
Yeah.
I so how can you ask somebody how they feel when you're feeling a certain way? And I think that's to touch up on what you were saying, Eric, like you don't want to talk about it. It's more like everybody's going through something all the time. So to talk about it with you, it's like, well, I'm going through something too. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's what
don't
I'm
know.
telling you.
Like,
That's how you kind of feel sometimes. Like, yo, I know you got your problems, and then me bringing my problems to you isn't gonna make the situation any better. Like,
mhm.
so I'll deal with it. Like, I don't
So for
feel,
me,
I don't feel real quick, Oscar. I don't feel that if you guys ever called me, I wouldn't ever feel like you couldn't talk to me. Like to me, because I've gone through it. So let me tell you, I can tell you everything that I've gone through, and yo, we can bounce back with that. But for me to make the call, that's something totally different.
Yeah, so like I was gonna, that's exactly what I was gonna say, Eric, is like, I don't know, like bouncing back and forth between people that have gone through the same thing, sometimes it does help. You know what I mean? Because like I have other friends that do deal with depression, and sometimes like I need to talk to him. You know what I mean? And we talk, and he says sometimes it's just the whole talking makes you feel better about it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just that person listening. You know what I mean? Like with the counselor, it's more like they trying to guide you, like they're trying to analyze you. You know what I mean? And they're trying to like figure out like what's going on and trying to help you make the best choices for yourself, not for your family or anything, for yourself, to help you like either get out of that slump, you know what I mean, or out of that hole. But as far as like, like, and like you said, like the hugs, it's all temporary, because it's the same thing like conversation with a friend. You know what I mean? It's gonna be temporary. You know what I mean? But sometimes, hey, a conversation, you never know. Like that person might need that conversation, like to save his life. You know what I mean?
No, adding on to
It's
what
just
you
for
guys
that
were
temporary.
saying, adding on to what you guys were saying, that to be that true person to lean on, sometimes when somebody's talking to you, the best thing you could do is just listen. Don't say nothing that's going on with you. Maybe save it for another time, or sometimes people just need to be heard and just listen. And whether you offer advice or not, but I don't think it's wise to say, yeah, I'm going through such and such too, because then now you're trying to change. You're trying to put yourself in the same position as being the vulnerable person. So now, how does that person feel? Like they're trying to put it all out on the line for you there, to see if somebody's there for them and listen to them. And all you're doing is saying, well, yeah, hey, that I know somebody who that happened to, or nobody wants to hear that. Like, that's what a support system does. You're there for each other, you listen to each other. But it's more like now all you're doing is adding on to somebody, because now you feel bad because you're talking to them about your problems too. So, and I think that's a lot what a therapist or a counselor does, is they listen to you a lot. Like, they're not going to tell you, well, yeah, I'm going through stuff too, because everybody's always going through something. We have to be more of an outlet for each other, and be there for each other. And nobody likes that friend that you tell them something, and oh yeah, they know somebody like that, or they went through it too. And it's just like, just listen. That's all you got to do, is just listen to people.
Yeah, I think when if somebody does, brought up a good point. It's just you got to make it about them. I mean, yeah, you go through some stuff, but definitely you know what it's like to go through it. So make it about them. Like make sure, yeah, because people can add. I mean, you start talking, oh yeah, this went, but you're not listening to what they're saying. Like listen to me. Like that's what they really called you for, is just to listen. And you need a vent, and you need to air it all out. And by you just saying, oh yeah, me too. Yeah, you know what? And let me tell you about my story. Sometimes they just want, well, they want to be heard, and you talking, you ain't
they're
listening.
just they're just waiting for you to finish talking so they can start talking. They're not even listening.
Yeah.
We're all good now.
Um, yeah, I think we're good.
All right, you guys. I don't know
I'm
if,
talking,
well, again,
I'm
if
talking
you,
about everybody's mental health. We're all good now.
yeah, I don't know if you guys want to drop the comments down on that. I mean, you guys know people who suffer from it. I'm pretty sure COVID brought a lot of stuff like this out in people, like not
Ask.
being able to socialize and all that. Like,
Got one tip of advice: walking.
oh yeah,
10-15 minute walk.
remember
It
when I
helps a
told you
lot.
guys that I talked to myself? That's how I would get over depression. Like, I'm telling you, you being in your own head is crazy. Like depression, it spirals down, and I would have to walk, and it honestly does help me. I thought I was the only one that did that. Honestly, even when I talk to somebody like that, I'm feeling sad, I'll pace up and down. Like I can't sit still. One, because my mind runs like 1,000 miles per hour, and walking slows my mind down. Like I'll look at the floor, I'll look at everything I'm stepping on,
You
just
start
to slow
focusing
my
on
mind
other
down.
things.
Yeah, like just to slow my mind down, just so I can focus on what I'm telling you. Or even hearing, like if I'm trying to hear something that I really want to listen to, I'll start to pace like up and down just to um, get me to focus, because my mind will run 1,000 miles per hour. So when you're at home and you're down and out, all those thoughts in your head, you just walk it off. Like get, and honestly, a fresher breath air. It sounds dumb, guys, but it freaking helps. Like that them walks out in, like, damn, that's why I don't like winter. But like just
Especially
out
in the
there,
sunlight.
yeah, like the sunlight, it really does. Your body needs it. Like the vitamin D from the sunlight, it really helps you. People don't think so, and that's why in depression, like you see on the what's called, they're all with the shades and blinds, and you're all in the dark. That's what it feeds off of. But when you start to walk out and like feel the sun rays on your body, like it really does uplift you.
It energizes you.
Yeah, so I think
Hmm.
Oscar brought up a good point. That's a great point. As a matter of fact, I think that's great therapy. Like if you can't find anybody to talk to, and even if you do talk to somebody, try walking when you do. It'll help you. Like I know it helps me. And again, I'll talk to myself. Like I said, you don't always have somebody to talk to. Again, it's not even something you feel comfortable talking to people.
True.
Yeah, but you guys drop down in the comments. Let us know if you guys have suffered through it, or even if you don't want to. If I mean, just knowing that you'll support people that do need
How you
somebody to
can
talk
help
to.
you. Yeah. How you can help others.
Yeah, man. All right. God bless. To the next one. Love y'all.